Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool and Man City face a transfer battle with Bayern Munich in the race to sign Dayot Upamecano. Bayern Munich are the front runners and the Bayern Munich CEO Karl-Heinz Rummenigge has confirmed Bayern Munich's interest. Bayern Munich want to get him for a lower fee than his actual release clause. Dayot Upamecano is available for around £38 million at the end of the season, because that's when his release clause does become active. Christian Falk has recently provided us with an update on the Dayot Upamecano saga. RB Leipzig's CEO said quite a few weeks ago that we will sell our top performers again if that makes financial sense. Upamecano has been at RB Leipzig now for over 3 years. They paid around €10 million for him, and last year he signed a new contract with RB Leipzig until 2023, and he is a centre-half. So that's the breaking news on him. Now, will Paul Pogba sign a new contract at Manchester United? Now, I think Paul Pogba is set to stay because he is considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicts Mino Raiola for the second time. Now, Mino Raiola told 2Sport last month that his client's career at Man United is over. He said he's unhappy and he has to leave, and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola because the announcement was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. Earlier on in the season, we did trigger that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. Don't forget, Paul Pogba did have an ankle injury earlier on in the season. He was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury, but to his credit, since he come back from that ankle injury, he's put very, very good performances out. By the way, Paul Pogba's mentioned about our teammates being arrogant, and he's also said that Rashford and Anthony Martial don't have the experience or quality like Edison Cavani. Pogba did actually give an interview prior to the game against Liverpool in the league, and he said that we're not on Liverpool's level as yet, but he says we can win the Premier League. And he was talking about his frustrations, when he was on the bench. Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. Now, he's been linked with a move to PSG in recent weeks. Mino Raiola has been talking with PSG, and it said a few weeks ago that Pochettino identified Paul Pogba as his top target. He's been relentlessly linked with a return to Juventus. Paul probably did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus, and swap deals have been high on the agenda. Juventus did offer us Aaron Ramsey as part of a swap deal for Pogba. We rejected it. They also offered us Douglas Costa as part of a swap deal for Paul Pogba. We rejected it. He's also been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. It said a few weeks ago we had revealed our asking price. We do want around £75 million. I think this is Pogba's, 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. He's won 3 trophies so far at Man United, and that was the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield. He's made over 100 appearances in all competitions. Don't forget we did have him when he was a lot younger under the Sir Alex Ferguson era, but we had to let him go due to limited appearances. Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, he said that Paul Pogba will leave in the summer, providing that an agreement is reached. And Duncan Castles recently said that Paul Pogba's trying to set up a summer transfer away from Man United, with his recent performances. In a game against Liverpool in the league, Paul Pogba played in more of an advanced role. Do you think he'll play in that position now more regularly? So that's a bit more news on Paul Pogba. Manchester United are the Premier League comeback kings. That has been proven this season, because we've come from behind in a lot of games. Under the Sir Alex Ferguson era, we're comeback kings, and also scored a lot of last minute goals under the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Alex Ferguson endured 27 years at Man United. Like I said, he won a total of 38 major honours, including 13 Premier League titles. But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. And like I've said, Solskjaer won't replicate Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy, and obviously he's not going to last as long as Ferguson did. No manager in general is going to do what Sir Alex Ferguson did, but certainly Solskjaer is bringing the old Man United back, reflecting on the progress he has made in the last year or so. The performances have improved. Certain players have improved. We are unbeaten in our last 13 Premier League games now, I think. We've been exceptional away from home in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year now. We are unbeaten in our last 17 Premier League away games. We equalled the record from the 98-99 season. If we do beat Arsenal at the end of this month, we will break that record. We are top of the Premier League. Man United can certainly win the Premier League this season. If we do, it will be our first Premier League title since 2013, and it will be our 21st title overall. By the way, we are 6 points clear of Liverpool. Solskjaer has been playing a few mind games though, hasn't he, in recent weeks? He was saying prior to the Burnley game that, Man United must stay humble and not think we've cracked it if we go top. He said after our 1-0 win against Wolves earlier on in the season that we're not in the title races yet, but he said if we are still challenging in March, he'll start to believe that we're in the title race. It'd be a remarkable achievement if we did win it this season. If we did win it this season, then I can assure Solskjaer is the long-term manager for Man United. But yeah, there's a few teams that could win it. Not only us, City can win it. Tottenham could even win it. Leicester could win it. Liverpool are still in there, despite them being winless in their last 5 Premier League games. Burnley did beat them 1-0. Burnley have ended Liverpool's 68-match unbeaten run at Anfield. So Liverpool are in a bad vein of form at the moment. There's 3 trophies that we can pursue this season. We can win the Premier League, we can win the FA Cup, and we can also win the Europa League. It's very imperative that we get our first trophy on the board under Solskjaer. We haven't won a trophy now for just over 4 years. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is on course to earn himself a new contract, reflecting on the progress he's made. Now, I think Solskjaer is more than halfway through his 3-year deal. He signed a 3-year deal when he got the job permanently back in March 2019. But yeah, a lot of Man United fans now have a lot of faith in Solskjaer. You know, a lot of Man United fans are Ole in. But Solskjaer has been criticised a lot, especially earlier on in the season. You know, a lot of United fans were demanding him out, including me, you know, of how inconsistent we was earlier on in the season. But with how good we've been in recent months, our perceptions have started to change on Solskjaer. Solskjaer has been Manchester United manager for over 2 years. We appointed him in December 2018, and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. We did give him the job permanently because he did well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. And this is Solskjaer's second full season at the football club. He's managed, I think, over 100 games as Man United manager in all competitions. We deserve credit for sticking with Solskjaer because he could have easily have been sacked as Manchester United manager because we have endured bad periods under him. And don't forget, at one point, Mauricio Pochettino was the favourite to replace him. You know, Solskjaer got us to the EFL Cup semi-final earlier on in the season. Lost that to Man City 2-0. He did well last season in his first full season. He got us qualification for the Champions League. He got us third. That's the second highest we've finished since the Ferguson era. And he guided us to 3 semi-finals. We've also seen a lot of players depart the club since he got recommended in. And despite our reluctance to back Solskjaer with transfers and that, I still think he has made good signings as Man United manager. He spent over £200 million. In the summer of 2019, he brought Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January last year, he brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odin Igalo in on loan. And in the summer transfer window of last year, he brought Donny van de Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Facundo Palestre and Amad Diallo Traore. I do like the way that Solskjaer has promoted the youth. Solskjaer did say when he got appointed in as Man United manager that everybody would get their chances to express themselves, including the young players. And the young players have been given their chances, and Solskjaer's obviously brought more young players into the club. Solskjaer's decision making needs to be good persistently. Now, in some of his games, his decision making has been very, very good. But in a lot of games, he has been tactically naive. And I did say, didn't I, that's one of my biggest concerns about Solskjaer. But I say, you know, reflecting now on he's been at the club, you know, he's learned quite a bit on the job. Maybe there's still a few things he's got to learn. He has gained some managerial experience. You know, Man United is the third club in his managerial career. Obviously, before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff. And he enjoyed a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. We had a good period last season because we went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions. And I think we was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. So, the January transfer window is nearly shut. It was earlier on this month that Solskjaer gave us an update on our January transfer plans, and obviously he said that January signings are unlikely. But he made an admission saying that there could be further more departures this month. He did say prior to the Fulham game that 1 or 2 more players could leave. Sky Sports recently said that Solskjaer says signings are long-term, not a quick fix. So we recently saw Timothy Fosu-Mensah leave the club. He joined Bayer Leverkusen. Solskjaer's confirmed that Sergio Romero and Marcus Rojo are free to leave in this January window because he said their contracts won't be extended. Now, Jesse Lingard, he's been linked to a move away from the club. Now, the most recent team to be interested in him is Tottenham. I think Tottenham went in for him last year. Nice, the other week, were in for him. Sky Sports says that Lingard's representatives were talking with Nice over a possible loan move, but apparently now Nice have cooled their interest. West Ham have obviously been in negotiations with his agent. Villa have been in for him towards the end of last year. Real Sociedad were talking with his agent, and Celtic and Rangers were in for him. But Solskjaer thinks in disagreement over his future, like I said. I think Solskjaer said he wants Lingard to stay this month, despite him losing his place out of the team a while ago. Phil Jones, now I think he's another player Man United need to offload. Odin Ighalo, I think he'll leave. His loan expires at the end of this month. There has been rumours of Daniel James going out on loan. Earlier on in this window, there was rumours of Brandon Williams going out on loan because Brandon Williams is now our third choice left back following the arrival of Alex Telles. I think more players could leave in the summer. You already know the news on Juan Mata. Solskjaer admits that Juan Mata's future is uncertain, but he said that Juan Mata's closing on his Man United exit with Solskjaer's recent admission. Could Matic also leave the club in the summer? This January transfer window is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as Man United manager, and Woodward promised that he will back Solskjaer. And he's assured his job's safe even when we was going through the bad periods, because like I've said so many times, our board have got a soft stance on Solskjaer with him being a club legend. But like I said, disregarding him being a club legend, in the periods we were bad, the board would have been a lot more ruthless on him. Woodward did say towards the end of last year that we will back Solskjaer with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. The board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years. I've already given you the main explanations why. Woodward's been at the club since 2012 and the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. We've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. We sacked David Moyes after 10 months. He's enjoyed the shortest tenure at the club. We finished 7th under the David Moyes era, the lowest we finished in the Premier League era. That was the only mistake Ferguson made was ever recommending Moyes in. But the main explanation he recommended him in is because they was both Scottish. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, despite him winning 3 trophies in his first season. I already give you the reasons why it didn't work out under Mourinho, is because he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players, and basically the board just weren't backing the signings that he wanted to recommend him, because Mourinho made it clear to our board in the summer of 2018 that he wanted to recommend a centre-half in, and like I've said to you regarding signings and that, you know, Solskjaer has been facing the same problem as what Mourinho was facing. And we're not even really known as a sacking football club, even though we have sacked 3 managers since Ferguson. I think we've made mistakes since Ferguson left, and that's why we've been inconsistent. Well, it's one of the reasons. But I've got to say now, with how good we've been in recent months, you can say Solskjaer is the best manager since Ferguson. Certainly a much better manager than David Moyes was. Solskjaer knew when he took over at Man United he had a lot to do. Because when he came in, he was inheriting a lot of deadwood. He's got rid of some of the deadwood now, like I mentioned, but he's still inheriting some deadwood. Obviously, the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's. Obviously, Solskjaer knew that he had to make the right signings. And got all the players that he wanted in, but he still made some good signings, like I mentioned earlier on. I think Solskjaer still needs to identify his best 11. Does he need to select the right formation? Solskjaer's tried a few different formations since he got appointed in as Man United manager. We've spent big on players in recent years. We've overpaid for players. And we've spent over £1 billion since Sir Alex Ferguson left. And we've brought around, 36, 37 players in since Ferguson left. Under the Moyes era, we brought Fellaini and Maturin. Under Louis van Gaal era, we must have brought a good 15, 16 players in. He brought players like Schneidlin in, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Di Maria, Falcao, Memphis Depay, Rojo, Darmian, Martial, Shaw, Victor Valdez, Herrera, Romero. So there are a lot of the players that Louis van Gaal brought in, and like I mentioned, Mourinho brought 11 players into the football club, and I think Solskjaer has brought around 10 senior players in. There's a lot of players that we will keep at Man United, as well as sell. We'll obviously keep Marcus Rashford. I think Marcus Rashford has really, really improved under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Don't get me wrong, he's enjoyed some bad games recently. Rashford can play out wide and you can put him centrally. But I just prefer him out wide because that's where he's more effective. When Rashford's playing well, he gets good runs in behind. He creates chances. He also scores some good goals. Rashford's been part of the club for several years. He's been a United player since the age of 7 and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And since then has become an integral part of the team. We'll obviously keep Anthony Martial for at least the next couple of seasons. But there is a lot of United fans that are now saying Martial needs to be dropped because for the vast majority of this season, he has been out of form. He's obviously had chances, but he hasn't converted them, so he hasn't been clinical enough in front of goal. Earlier on this season, Martial had a 3-match suspension in the league because he got sent off in our 6-1 defeat to Tottenham. But Martial was very, very good last season. And he was good in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. Martial's been at the club now over 5 years. Sometimes he plays out wide and sometimes he plays up top. A lot last season he played centrally. Solskjaer was the one that gave Martial that number 9 shirt. He has been subjected to transfer speculation before. Obviously, we'll keep Edison Cavani. Edison Cavani has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Cavani started against Fulham and he scored against Fulham. Had a chance in the second half as well, so he should have had 2 goals. Not so long ago, Edison Cavani served a 3-match ban for the racist comment that he put on social media last month. Obviously, Solskjaer confirmed he had apologised for that. Solskjaer was talking about him not so long ago, and he said Cavani's definitely a starter for Man United. He said we're already looking to extend his contract, and Solskjaer revealed the first thing that Cavani asked him when he came into the club, and that's whether he could wear the number 7 shirt. We've got Edison Cavani on deadline day last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. And I said when we got him, he will be the next Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Cavani also did very, very well during his time at PSG. We'll also keep Mason Greenwood. I think Mason Greenwood is the foreseeable future for Man United. Haven't really had a lot of a perception on him though this season because he hasn't played as much as we all expected, but earlier on in the season he had personal issues. He was out of injury at one point, he was out with illness as well. Solskjaer's been defending him a lot this season. You can put Mason Greenwood out wide and you can also put him up top. This is his 2nd season in our senior squad. At the start of this season, we give him that number 11 shirt. We'll certainly keep Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes has made the difference in this team. In most of his games at Manchester United, he has been consistent. There's only been the odd few games where he hasn't been so consistent. He did well against Fulham recently. Played a part in the first goal. He was unlucky not to get his name on the score sheet because don't forget he had a chance, produced a good save for Mariola and it also hit the post. But he weren't great against Liverpool in the league. Prior to the game against Fulham, Solskjaer defended Bruno Fernandes and denies that he needs a rest. You know, he won Player of the Month for December. He's won that now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. Fernandes has been at the club now, is it a year or almost a year, and predominantly plays as a number 10. But he needs a rest at some point because we have overplayed him. But certainly the best signing we've made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era, and he is our best player. Like I said, you know, Pogba could stay now. Fred, I think we'll keep him. Fred's been subjected to some chance for speculation before. But I think Fred has really, really improved under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. You know, he showed good attacking intent. Some of his passing's been good. He's broke up the play well. I just think Fred needs to read his game better. So that's what he's got to work on. Fred's been at the club now a few years. We got Fred in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. He was very, very good during his time in Ukraine. Donny van der Beek now, I think we'll also keep him at this present time. Donny van der Beek seldom starts in the Premier League. He's only started 2 games in the Premier League so far this season. Most of his appearances have come from the bench. Solskjaer needs to start giving him more chances. Solskjaer spoken about Van der Beek a few weeks ago. And he insists that, you know, Van der Beek has a bright future at Manchester United, and he tips Van der Beek to emulate Fred and Lindelof by succeeding at the club. Don't forget Ronald de Boer urged Donny van der Beek to leave Man United in this January window to boost his chances for the Euros. And the Ajax CEO Edwin van der Sar was recently talking about him, saying that Man United remain confident he will be a success at Old Trafford. He was talking about Van der Beek showing fantastic attitude in training despite his lack of game time. But yeah, Van der Sar spoke to people at Man United about Van der Beek. We got him in a deal worth £40 million, paid £35 million up front, and there was £5 million in add-ons. Van der Beek can play in like 3 different roles. So versatile, yeah. McTominay will also keep him. Certainly McTominay's best game in a Man United shirt was the 6-2 win against Leeds, because he scored twice in that game and he got an assist. He also did well in the game against Watford in the FA Cup 3rd round, got his name on the score sheet in the 5th minute of that game. Was it just after the first lockdown? McTominay signed a 5-year contract with Man United. He has been part of the club for several years. We'll obviously keep Luke Shaw as well, because he's really improved under the Solskjaer era. The only element of concern about Shaw is that he's injury prone. surprisingly still remains our first choice left back, despite the arrival of Alex Telles. Harry Maguire will also keep him. I've been very, very impressed with him. Bounced back from his early season troubles, but despite his good performances, weren't worth the £80 million that we got him for. Eric Bay, I think we're going to keep him for now, because he's been very impressive since he started playing again. Again, my element of concern about Bay injury prone. And Wan-Bissaka will also keep him. And I think we're going to keep David De Gea, because David De Gea is getting back to his best. We'll keep Dean Henderson as well. I think at some point Dean Henderson will become our number one. So there is a lot of players we are going to keep at the club. On my next video, I'll be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of this game against Liverpool. So anyway guys, that's everything to update with today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless you all again very, very soon.